Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have a very special guest, Terry Power. Terry is a Greensboro SEO professional focused on ranking his clients' web pages higher using proven, tested SEO methods. He has over 20 years of experience in SEO and works as a local SEO consultant. He is the author of Marketing Your Small Business Online. And when not working on marketing campaigns for clients, Terry enjoys reading, motorcycling, and spending time with his wife. Terry, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So for our audience, I mean, Terry and I first met at SEO Rockstars in 2018, which was really cool. And he was one of the speakers at the conference that year. And I remember the presentation he gave was pretty cool. Actually, I asked him if he had
about chainsaws.
You talked about chainsaws, yeah.
It was an SEO presentation, but
yeah, it was, yeah. Anyway, it was awesome. So it's so good to connect with you and have you here and see you again. So for our audience, 20 years of SEO. How did you first get started and interested? I mean, 20 years ago is a long time.
And almost 30 years ago, I first got online.
Wow.
My email address, terrypower@email.com, not Gmail, email.com.
Email.com.
I've had since 1993.
Wow.
And in 94, I became a certified internet webmaster, which basically meant you had to know about protocols, how to code, HTML, stuff like that. But then there were like 6,000 websites. So as long as you put up a website, people would find it. Half those 6,000 were porn. So if you weren't doing porn, you were even more likely to be found because there was even less. But by the turn of the century, there were hundreds of thousands of websites, and you no longer just putting one up got it any attention.
Yeah.
So I started reading these things, Warrior Forum. Even ICQ groups and stuff. For the old folks here. And bulletin boards and stuff about ways to get your page to rank. So people would try all sorts of things, and you'd go, "Does that really work? Well, let's try it and find it." And and then of course Google came along.
Yeah.
And then they made it, all about math, an algorithm. An algorithm that they wouldn't tell you. So you have to figure it out yourself kind of thing. But, you did certain things and you go, hey, this is helping. I'm moving up. Or you would sit down and look at the top 3 or 4 websites and go, oh, look at them. They're all doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. You look at the search results and you see, oh, they all got the keyword there as part of their title. And I don't. Maybe that would help.
Maybe that will help. Have you always taken that approach of looking at the results and seeing what they're doing in order to optimize?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what I do now. If I could get a potential client, before I actually meet and talk with them, I will look at their competitors as well as their own web presence. See what they're doing on platforms, but see what's ranking for some of the keywords they're interested in.
Yeah.
And then I can look at their page and go, oh, well, look, you got 300 words there, lots of pictures, no alt tags, but lots of pictures. Yeah. Everybody else has, long articles. Maybe you need to write some articles.
Yeah. And have you seen that pay off, taking that approach to SEO?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Consistently for years. But I mean, now, of course, we've got tools like Page Optimizer Pro, Surfer, Cora, tools that do a lot of that analysis for us. Used to have to do that, sit there and look at that top, you'd pull up the SERPs and then you'd open a new tab, all the top ones, and go and look at them, look at their code and see what they were doing and compare them to what you were doing. And you'd see common things. And after a while, you'd get to where there's 5 or 6 things you consistently need to do. This number one is doing 3 of them. This guy's doing 2 of them. This guy's doing 4. But if I do all of them, and then you start ranking and going, I think I got this figured out. but as more people figure it out, of course, there's more than just 4 or 5 factors. So you keep having to, look a little deeper into it in the competitive niches.
Yeah. Do you think that like these tools that maybe some people have never heard of up until now, I know a lot of people have heard of Surfer SEO. Not so many people I talk to have heard of Page Optimizer Pro or Quora. And
Page Optimizer Pro is very industry specific to the SEO world.
Okay.
Other people, for whatever reason, not many like bloggers have heard of it. Not many YouTubers, social media influencers have heard of it. Whereas a lot of them have heard of Surfer. But Quora, even fewer people, but it's the best SEO software I've ever played with. It's just fabulous. I can, punch in a keyword, put in a URL of a potential client. And when I go to sit down with them at a meeting, I have no doubt they're going to hire me because I'm going to have data that they can't find anywhere else. And be able to say, look, this is what we need to do. Here is what needs to be done to get your page to the top for this keyword, for this keyword, this keyword. And you can do it yourself, or you can hire someone who's competent to get it done for you. Yeah. And they don't want to do it themselves. They're trying to run a business.
Of course. Why are you so confident in Quora? Because, there's tons of software out there.
And seen the results. And I don't necessarily use it exactly the way everyone else does.
Okay.
I look at some specific portions of it.
Yeah.
And tune my pages accordingly.
Okay.
So I rarely even bother looking at the backlinking of the competitors.
Yeah. Because
I know from looking at their websites and my Quora reports that they're not well tuned. Yeah. A well-tuned page is going to beat them even with just a handful of backlinks, even if they've got 1,000 backlinks. Yeah. Because the on page, I believe, has more strength in the overall ranking than the off page. So if I can do the on page, tune it really well, I'm not going to need hardly any backlinks.
Okay. So first, do you trust Quora because of the person behind it? Like, obviously, you and I know the guy behind it.
Yeah, I started using it because of the guy behind it.
Yeah. And he's constantly testing data, right? He's constantly testing
data, tweaking, and going
he's
further
feeding
and
that
further.
data into his software in order for you. He knows when updates are coming out before they're even coming out.
He's got software for that. He's a data nerd. Yeah, really smart guy, and into all this, compiling all this data, gathering info from it. And I've told people this before. When the first time I ever went to a SEO conference, I went in, got there, checked in the hotel, went downstairs, and there's a restaurant in the lobby. I walk in there because I'm hungry. I've been on a plane and stuff. I walk in, and Ted Kubitis, the guy who designed Quora, and Kyle Roof, who helped put together Page Optimizer Pro, they're both sitting there. Each got a beer, and they went, "Hey, come on over, join us." I sat down, and we ordered dinner. They had just ordered, but hadn't gotten their food. We ordered, we ate, and talked for about 3 hours.
Wow.
And to this day, I learned more in those 3 hours than the rest of the conference.
Wow.
That I still use anyway, because I was talking to Kyle about the way I did SEO, looking at every page on the front page, dissecting what they're doing. And he says, I'm working on some software that'll do that for us. Yeah. And Ed's like, I just brought out but we talked about all sorts of stuff, but it was just really cool. I knew these guys knew what they were talking about SEO wise, but it was the first time we sat down. I'd had like text conversations, messages on Skype and stuff like that. It's the first time we'd met, but I was just really like, wow, this is some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And,
we
both
of them are
learned a lot.
Yeah. Kyle, of course, again, I talked to a lot of people who have not heard of him, and it surprises me, considering what he accomplished with, starting to do SEO testing and learned the fake word that didn't exist in Google's index and registering the domain name and using, he ranked lorem ipsum text. What was it again? Rhinoplasty Plano?
Yeah. Rhinoplasty Plano, Texas was, it was part using of a SEO contest.
Yeah.
And he ranked without even using English or Spanish, because it was Texas, but he didn't use English or Spanish. He used Latin. But he knew where to put the right keywords in the right place, where to put variations on those keywords.
Yeah.
And he had grabbed the number one spot in the 3-pack as well as the organic number one.
Yeah.
And then
go on.
Somebody on search engine land, search engine journal wrote an article saying, somebody showed Google that they don't know how to read, and had a whole thing on it and outed him, said who this was. And at SEO Rockstars that year, his presentation, he changed his presentation to, my pages all disappeared. Google made all my websites go away.
Yeah.
Because of what he had done with the lorem ipsum, and proven to us that Google doesn't actually read this, which we all sort of knew. It's an algorithm. It's all ones and zeros. That's all they see is ones and zeros. Yeah. But he proved it, and reassured us that was what was going on. And you saw that Google could be vindictive. They certainly had the power, and they instituted a new rule because of what he was
Kyle
doing.
Did.
And he wasn't the only one doing it. He got caught.
Yeah.
So, he got punished, but he also got some notoriety from it that, made it worth it, I believe. But,
I believe so too. What new rule did they implement as a result of that?
A language rule about more than X percentage, I think it is, of your page being in a language not native to the geo, wherever. For instance, he also ranked that lorem ipsum page in Milan, which coincidentally, Latin and Italian aren't that far off.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not really fair. But it would. He showed in different countries around the world that it worked no matter what country, provided the keywords were in the appropriate language. The rest of the text did not have to be.
Did not matter.
So,
that's game changing for us to be connected to go to these conferences and be exposed to forerunners or trailblazers or even being a part of a community that you can mind share and connect with. Like, I learned a crap load from listening to your presentation at SEO Rockstars.
Well, anytime you get a chance to go to a conference in a field you have interest in, it's well worth your trouble to learn some things as well as make those connections. I spent a couple hours talking to Ted today. I was talking to Kyle last week. And he's in Thailand. He lives in Thailand now.
Yeah,
he moved, but you make these connections, and you can reach out. There's a lady in SEO, Carolyn Holzman.
Oh yes, I know Carolyn. She's supposed to come on the show.
An indexing test every day for over a year now. And this summer she was over about 3 hours from me, from where I live, for the summer. And so we each drove and met in the middle to have lunch one day and talk, just talk SEO and stuff. Partly SEO. Because with COVID, it'd been so long since you'd actually get to sit down with someone and talk SEO. It was nice to have lunch with her and catch up a little and, stuff in person. And of course, this year, a lot of conferences are opening back up.
Yeah.
Instead of being just virtual. So I'm looking forward to a couple of those. So that's cool.
I'm going to try and get to some of them. All these years, what has been the thing that has kept you attracted to SEO so much instead of venturing into Google ads or Facebook ads or
it changes.
Yeah.
That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
There's no getting boring because the rules change once in a while. Or the gorilla in the room, Google says, we're changing the rules, but we're not going to tell you how.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they really are, or like when they announced AMP, everybody should be using accelerated mobile pages.
Oh, goodness.
And then they went, we don't really care if they did. And it doesn't really matter anymore if you used AMP or not. So sometimes they tell you they're going to do things and they're not.
Yeah.
Other times they'll tell you they're going to do something and maybe they are, but they change their mind, or the times change and they decide not to do it anymore. So just because they say we're going to change the rules, sometimes they don't. So you don't even know not just how the rules are going to change, but really even if. It just keeps it keeps me interested. You don't get bored.
Absolutely. What is one common myth about SEO that people believe that you know for a fact is not true?
Well, there's a few. From testing and my own experience personally with websites, as well as seeing test results of others, you cannot over-optimize a web page. There's no such thing. You can't make it too much optimized. Okay. That's a big one. And that black hat doesn't work, or get you punished, or get you penalized, or something like that.
Okay. So first of all, you cannot optimize a page. And the second thing that people think black hat is you can only be a white hat SEO. If you do any black hat, you're screwed.
Yes. If not now, they'll catch you, next time, but soon.
Yeah.
No,
Are there any black hat? Are there any black hat techniques you're comfortable sharing? And if you're not, you can plead the fifth.
Well, if you're doing local, do some directories.
Okay.
That's black hat though, because Google says you shouldn't do anything to try to enhance your rankings. And that's certainly why you do the directories, to help enhance your rankings.
So do you mean creating your own directories or signing up for the directories?
Just, signing up for, all the web and for, Yelp and all those. Those, doing anything to better your position on the SERPs is against Google's terms of service. Yeah. And they consider it black hat. So if you write an article, if you write an article, say you're doing something on inflatable kayaks is what you're selling.
Sure.
And you write an article on how much you love your inflatable kayak and how easy it is to transport and get in the water and whatever, because you want to share this great story, your passion with somebody else, that's okay. But if you're writing it to help your rankings, so you be sure and hit that inflatable kayak in there a couple times, maybe 2 or 3%, then you're doing it to help your rankings, and it's black hat.
Yeah, that's so true. Hey, Terry, what about, my apologies, I'm trying to think of how to ask this question. Keyword density. People talk about having keywords too much or too little, this whole thing about percentage of keywords and so on and so forth. I mean, you just mentioned earlier that you can't over optimize. I mean,
right. Keyword density. Earlier when I was mentioning Quora, we were talking about Ted Kubitis.
Yes, Ted Kubitis.
Ted did a test on keyword density where he created a website with a 5% keyword density, and one with 10%, and one with 15%, on up to 95%.
Wow.
So that 95% keyword is just keyword. And after in 100 words, there'd be a the and a small or a few other words, but just, and I've done the same test after talking to him about it. And I know dozens of other people have done the same kind of test. The 95% will outrank the 5, the 10, the 20, the 60, the 80. It wouldn't convert. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to convert with a page like that. But for ranking, keyword density matters. More importantly, though, than keyword density is relevant density. So not just a keyword, but some variations on your keyword.
Okay.
some entities that are related to your keyword.
Okay.
Kyle famously says, if you're writing about baseball, it makes sense to have the word diamond and the word base and the word stadium and the word glove in your article. And Google understands that means the article is more about baseball than if those didn't appear. Okay. So you can densely pack in not just keywords, but variations on the keyword. And like I said, other relevant entities that would deal with that topic or niche, whatever it is.
So basically,
and you can pack them in as much as you want. But if you want conversions, you don't want to get so optimized that nobody can understand, what you're trying to say, what you're trying to sell, or what the call to action is.
Okay. So in other words,
it's a balancing act between ranking factors and conversion factors.
Yeah. So in other words, is that LSI? Like when you forgive my ignorance, or for sounding stupid.
No, there's an argument out there on the internet, anywhere you can find, about LSI. Is that LSI? Yeah. Is that what keyword variations and relevant terms and entities are? And that's what the term means in the world of SEO. In the world of mathematics, that's not what it means.
It's not what it means.
It means a collection of data that leads you to certain information. Mm-hmm. So it was sort of usurped in the SEO community to mean keyword variations and entities and related stuff. So that's what LSI is, unless you're talking to a mathematician, in which case they'll go, that's not what it is. It doesn't really matter how it's defined. That's what it is, though, in the SEO world.
What are some tools? Okay, so besides Quora, will Quora give you that kind of data of what different words to use, or is that more Page Optimizer Pro?
Quora will give you that data.
Quora will give you that data?
Entities based on Wikipedia and Google's definitions of entities. It'll give you relevant keywords and their variations. It'll tell you what the top 100 pages are using as far as variations and entities and keywords.
Wow.
So you can go, oh, I don't have those keywords in there at all. Let me throw them in. I don't have that entity at all. So, yeah.
So if you only had two tools to choose from, are there any additional tools besides Quora and Page Optimizer Pro that you would recommend, or do you just stick to those two?
I would recommend for off-page.
Yeah. Okay.
Have some kind of a cloud software.
Okay.
Just because instead of doing it manually, half the people in SEO don't know how to code anymore. So not anything wrong with that, but if you can't code, you need a software to do it for you. Yeah. So, and not that many people know, but you can use WordPress on clouds, but you want to be able to build what essentially becomes sort of a PBN, sort of a private blog network.
Oh, okay.
In the cloud, because the clouds will load faster than anything else, because they're all built by these mega corporations. They load really fast. They're very powerful, and they're international. They can be spread out all over the world, and with your delivery network, so you can have lots of significant web platforms that link to the pages you're trying to rank.
Okay. This is unbelievable, because so many people would say that what you just said now is SEO blasphemy. I know so, because I talk to people. They're like, they would freak out about that. Like, oh no, you're going to get bitch slapped by Google for excuse my French.
Yeah, well, I don't worry about any of the Google updates. They're not gonna harm any of my sites or my clients' sites or anything like that, because they're optimized. They're tuned. And Google, when they change their algorithm, it doesn't change the way they tune. It's
So what you're talking about then is now, this is like knowledge that you're our audience. I hope they're realizing how fortunate they are. You're talking about, because this is like a game changer. It's like a gold nugget in regards to creating your own assets on cloud platforms such as Amazon or Google or whatever, pick one.
Yeah. IBM,
where you're launching your own assets, your own websites. or does it even have to have a domain name, or could it just have a link? Like,
doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to.
No, if it doesn't have it, you can make a subdomain of Amazon.com, subdomain of Microsoft, of Google,
Yeah.
IBM, Alibaba. Everybody's got them, So
wow. And those links are valuable, and will move the needle.
If you're the article, or whatever information you put on it, whether it's videos, articles, infographic, as long as they're the right kind of information. No sense building them about dog training if you're doing those kayaks.
Of course,
but
it should be relevant.
Yeah, it certainly would help if they were relevant. I mean, you're going to get some link from them anyway, but and then you can build your links. You can structure those links as you wish. You can send them to a sort of a buffer page rather than go directly to your website if you don't want everybody being able to see exactly where they're coming from.
So using two-tiered links, two-tiered systems is still a relevant.
Yeah, I build some properties that I build. Let's just say for the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
And then do a GSA blast to that link.
Wow.
Because the Google Play Store gets millions of hits, millions of links every day.
Yeah.
A few more doesn't bother them at all, even if a few more is 100,000.
Yeah. Because it's such a huge.
So those cloud platforms, if you're sending a link to one of your clouds on Microsoft, believe me, Microsoft gets linked to a lot of times. Yeah. Same way with Amazon, IBM, obviously Google. You're not going to harm anything by sending a bunch of links to it.
Yeah.
If it's on those clouds.
Yeah. What about varying your keywords in the anchor text? Is it still, everybody was using the same keywords at one point, exact match keywords, and then partial match, and then just click here. And then they're talking about how you need to vary it, and there's a certain amount you need to vary it, and it just gets to the point where it's like, is that even true, or is it just complete BS? From your experience,
I use still exact match. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean if I build a cloud website, that I'm going to use to link to a money site or a client site. Doesn't mean I'm going to use the same term for every link, because your customer's site has a link about water heaters and a different one about fixing toilets and a different one about leaks. So the exact match can be different for those different pages, but I still use exact match for whatever keyword that page I want to rank for.
Yeah. Is contents, there was a marketer, and I'm debating whether I should have him on the show or not, but I think I might, but you probably know who he is. And talking about using RSS feeds for content syndication in order to build up your authority and build a moat around your website, your money site, and so on and so forth. From your experience, is that still something that works, or since the algorithms of updates have come out,
it can work, but as a society, we become more litigious. So you can also get hit with. There's nothing wrong with taking our RSS feed and using that snippet, but we don't want that whole article printed on yours.
Okay, so just a snippet
platform.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've got to be careful with RSS feeds more so than you used to, when you could just grab anything.
Okay, that's a interesting thing. Have you had any experience using AI yet? And here, let me be more specific, if I could. My apologies. Have you had any experience yet in creating content with artificial intelligence, content that is assisted, and implementing that in SEO campaigns?
Yes. I think AI is a great help and a great hindrance to SEO.
Okay.
I use Jasper.
Okay.
Which is a tool for writing you tell it, I want an article, I want a blog article, I want a little snippet, I want something for a sales page, or you tell it the tone, I want it to be kind of funny, or I want it to be education, whatever. And it does an okay job. But thanks to Jasper, which brought a lot of that, it's a technology called GPT-3, but brought a lot of that AI more forward. There are now places where you can plunge in a keyword. And if you don't know, a keyword can be more than one word. Dog training is a keyword.
Yes.
So you can plug in a keyword and hit a button, and you'll get a website of 30 or 40 pages where the AI will go out and find, like, it'll look at people also ask, question hub, go out and find questions about that keyword, then create the answers for it, and make each of those a separate page, and then interlink them for your home page so you can find all the others, build you an entire website, and upload it for you to a cloud or a WordPress or something like that. I've built some of those, and I say I built, I put in the keyword. And then I do tune it a little because I don't necessarily like the overall on-page SEO. Some of them are better than others, but I'm still going to go in and tune it a little.
Okay.
Because they'll put in images, and I may want to change the alt text or something like that, or the image even. But I've done that. And one in particular, I was talking to somebody last Friday about that I built in June, and it is now in position 1 and 2 for its main keyword. And I didn't write a word of it other than some alt tags and stuff like that, the title tag. But, a machine wrote the entire website.
And it's ranked number 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's got the top 2 positions for a good keyword.
And do you have any concerns that Google is going to slap you and you're going to get Google slapped? Because
I've gotten articles before from Fiverr, and this stuff's written a lot better than many humans on Fiverr write. So I don't for a minute think that AI can tell for sure when something else is AI.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Think of it as someone, wasn't me, someone back in history used their brain to come up with the word brain.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is what AI is doing, trying to figure out if something else is AI. Yeah. And if you're worried about it, throw an emoji in there a couple times. AI just don't use emoji. Misspell a word. AIs don't misspell words. You can always tweak it slightly, and it'll be obviously human to an AI because, again, got a misspelled word here or there, or using an emoji. If you're worried about it, I'm not worried about it. So,
well, that gives me, for what it's worth, that gives me a little bit of peace because of the fear mongering of other people who are, thinking that, you better not use AI. The great, all powerful, all seeing Google Sauron is going to find out that you're using AI and then slap you and demote all your websites. And I think that, maybe I'm out to lunch, but I think people who aren't going to use AI are doing it at their own peril. I
can't understand why your average content writer who writes for a living isn't using AI and then tweaking it to make it more his own, her own. But why spend hours writing an article when you could spend 10 minutes tweaking it after the robot wrote it for you?
Exactly. And
because it's not the robot can do the research quicker than you can.
Exactly.
And it's not going to forget any of the things it researched.
Yeah. And I just don't understand how, I had one person telling me to do a search for a keyword on an AI assisted website that I created and wanting to know how much that word came out. And let's just say it's not plumbing, but let's just say it's about plumbing. Let's say it's a plumbing website. And there's search for plumbing. And if plumbing came up 60 times on the homepage, then it's a key indicator that it's AI written content, AI written web page site. But if you looked at how long the damn page is and how many words are on there, then you would, so that to me is bullshit. Sorry. That's a tell. I mean, I don't know, am I out to lunch?
That's obviously, I mean, if you have your article is 100 words and somebody else got an article that's 3,000 words, they're going to have a whole lot of words more times than you are.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean someone different necessarily wrote them, or that either which one was written by, because you can get those robots to write you small articles. Long, you can say, I need them to be this long, or I want them only this long.
Exactly.
No, I don't think, the AI is getting better also. It's no longer, originally it would just go grab a sentence about plumbing from this website and a sentence from this one and this one, and put them all together, and it didn't even make sense. Again, thinking back to Kyle's test, though, Google can't read the stuff. So they're only looking at these ones and zeros. But if those ones and zeros happen to be in a pattern, they start thinking, is this either this is a human, and the people in like the Department of Justice will tell you they can look at 14 different things that were sent in the mail to someone and go, these are written by the same person. If they're handwritten, these, because you pick up the personality of writers. They have style, and they like to use this word with that one or whatever. AI is the same way. Mm-hmm. But if you're really worried about it, then use 3 or 4 different AI tools to write your stuff, so they all have their own, little swing to it or something.
Yeah. Or if you're wanting to stay on brand, you can just continue to use the same tone. If you're, let's say you're creating an author that's a persona, hypothetically.
Right.
You would want that author to have the same tone.
Hypothetically, you went to these people do not exist, or this person does not exist.com and found a hypothetical person. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's my gosh. Coming back to that thing about Ted, that test he did with the keyword density, starting at 5% and going all the way up to 95. Was there a sweet spot that worked the best, or was it did the 95?
I think out of 20 results, one time 85 was the top, 95 was second. But if I remember right, but 95 won out. I mean, it's just, and you're just like, but again, you're not going to make conversions.
No,
if every word on your page is plumber,
Yeah. Be a pretty crappy website in that regard.
But it might rank really well.
Right. Yeah.
But people would bounce away really quick, though, if they just went, what's this plumber, Seattle, plumber.
Yeah, I don't think it would convert very well at all. So has to be a balance in between. But I think the key takeaway for that test that you were talking about is that keyword density is not a concern if like over optimizing and using too many keywords isn't.
Well, actually, the key takeaway is you use that on your private blog networks, your tier 2 or tier 3 properties, not on your money sites, because you don't need a conversion on those others. All you need is the power.
Wow.
The better they rank, the better. So.
Shut the front door. And those don't even cost anything many times, those cloud networks, right?
I got my bill for Google Cloud last week. Not my bill, my receipt, because it's automatic. Again, it was $2.13, and my Amazon bill was over $6. So they can cost you. Yeah. But my Amazon bill that was $6, I've got a couple Amazon accounts, has over 200 websites on it, some of whom have 20,000 pages. But it did cost me a little over $6 for the last month. So, so they're not all free, but they're darn close.
Still darn close. Wow. Hey, Terry, I there's so many other questions I have for you, but I know we're coming to the end of our time here. Would love to have you back on the show if you would be so kind to talk about other things. I'm sure there's a 1,000 other topics I could come up with and 200 more questions. But how can our audience connect with you online if they choose to do so?
terrypower.com.
terrypower.com.
Terry Power, all on the top line of your keyboard, TERRYPOW.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to connect, in the first week of October, I'm going to be at SEO Underground in London.
Oh, cool.
A black hat SEO conference.
SEO.
And then in November, SEO Rockstars in Dallas, Texas. Oh,
right on. It's in Dallas this year. Wow. I know Dory's been changing it. 1 year it was, the time I was there, it was Vegas. And then before that, it was in Vegas for quite a few years, wasn't it? And she had it in California.
She's been in California. She lives in California. But people for years have been telling her, among me, you need to bring it a little farther east once in a while. I'd like to see it on the East Coast sometime, but that's more a longer trip for her also. So, but it's going to be in Dallas this year. So.
Cool. Right on.
But so if Terry Power, go to some other conference and meet some people, make some connections. People.
Absolutely. So terrypower.com, and you're also on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Okay. So they can reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Under Terry Power also.
Right on.
If you're looking for a community, img-monthly.com.
imgmonthly.com.
What it stands for. Yeah. Okay. img-monthly.com.
img-monthly.
I'm on there. So is Kyle, Roof, lots of people on there.
Right on.
And a good community is a place where you can ask questions, get good answers, find good information, and most importantly to me, just get other people's perspectives on things. Because for most of us, we only have these two eyes right here. We can't see from a different angle.
Yeah.
And that's important to get feedback and perspectives from someone else.
Absolutely. Hey, once again, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Glad to be here. And if you're listening, keep listening. He's got some good information, in every interview. So
thank you very much.
Be a regular listener.